What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And I was offered the opportunity to see a movie that not many people have seen, or I don't even know what its release pattern is. So, if it's got an intended release pattern, if it's on VOD, if it's going to Tubi, I have no idea. But this movie was looking for coverage, and I'm giving it coverage. This is MeetCute in Manhattan. It is a very indie film, and I support independent film. I'm a member of Independent Film Critics Society, and yeah, so welcome to a film you did not know existed. We're going to talk about it. I am a blind film critic. This film does not have audio description, nor did I expect it to going into this. I mean, there is not a single actor involved here, and also I was giving it in a way uh, where it was sort of secondhand, uh, and so I didn't get the opportunity to even request it. So I have to give the movie a pass because it was through someone else, not directly through like a rep uh, that I was offered this. So, uh, I have, for my audience, I have a purple hat on backwards. It's a New York Yankees hat, black sunglasses, and I'm wearing a Pizza Planet shirt, repping Toy Story today. So, Meet Cute Manhattan. Um, it's kind of a cute movie. It's got like a debut film director. This might be a student film, but it also, if it is a student film, it's a damn good student film. Uh, Considering sometimes student films have like really micro budgets. I think this film worked a lot and did a lot with it. Its main male actor, Terrence Chin. I think I remembered that. I tried to remember. It's really hard to remember like a whole bunch of people's names that I've never heard of before, but I tried to remember at least his name because I think he is very charismatic, and he read all of the lines in ways that I felt like he had a lot of on-camera experience that not necessarily a lot of the other casts have had. He feels like he's had more time on camera doing other things, and whether or not he has or how much he's had, he just it could just be that this is like talent being represented, but um no, he was uniquely engaging for a male lead, and it's sort of an interesting film where it's a rom-com, but the guy feels like the romantic lead. Like the guy feels like he's the one who's waiting to be swept off his feet, and there's a girl that comes along that gives him the opportunity to have that happen, and like maybe it will, maybe it won't. And then we also have uh, intercut with what appears to be scenes with him pitching a movie to a studio. So he's pitching like a romantic comedy, which gave me an idea of, wouldn't it be cool if we did a movie about a romantic comedy about a guy who couldn't pitch romantic comedies to studios, so he had to have a girl do it, but then while the girl's pitching, he also then falls in love with the girl, and then it becomes a romantic comedy in and of itself. It's like romantic comedy Inception. Something sort of like that. Um, yeah, so he's pitching this screenplay, and going over like the coverage and stuff. So it's got a little bit of that. I've interfaced with studios before, and this is my feeling coming out of that. So, but then there's also the main story. He has a girlfriend who's an influencer. Her name is Chloe. I think his name was Jason. It's Jason or Justin, and her name was Chloe. And he ends up meeting a another girl, and they do this they get paired up for this commercial shoot because he's an actor, and they get paired up uh, to do a commercial shoot for a dating company called MeetCute, and it sort of ends up being a MeetCute in and of itself. And the company doing MeetCute gets a really great response from the two of them doing the commercial, so they want them to do more. And his agent finds them more work to do as a pair, so they start doing more commercial work together, and they become connected and friends and maybe more. But his romantic love interest also has a boyfriend, so everything is complicated in this movie. Nothing comes easy in love. We've learned that by now. Um, it's actually, I actually kind of enjoyed it. Uh, it it's it's not bad. I've seen worse, and I've seen worse with actors that I know. I've seen worse with budgets, with films with $1 million budgets. Um, am I gonna say that all of the acting in here is amazing? No, I'm not. Like, I didn't expect it to be. I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know who any of them are. But some of them are fine. They feel new. I mean, they feel like this is my first. He's the only one that feels like he's done camera work before. Um, but there's nobody here who has just like line deliveries that are just like, oh my God. I've had that. Um, I had that the last time that I really had that was like the Mousetrap, where I was like, Jesus, who cast you? I was like, there's at least one actress in that horrible movie, The Mousetrap, that just is actually, I think, worse than the movie themselves. But which is really hard to do. Who uniquely, if the movie had just replaced them, would have made the movie better. Just a truly a uniquely awful talent. But no, it's rare. Most casting is, especially for low budget movies, it's just a whole bunch of people who haven't really done a whole lot of things before. Sometimes with independent films, you get people who feel like this is their first film role, and maybe they did a lot of community theater, so it can be a little Hallmark movie of the week. But uh, it's not consistently that. It's just you may occasionally hit a role where you're like, oh, I don't know that you've done a lot of this before. So, but the beats and everything, the way that the film is paced, the way that it doesn't quite do everything as expected, it doesn't feel like it's a cookie cutter romantic comedy, nor does it reinvent the wheel. We're gonna draw the line. This is not the next When Harry Met Sally that came along and uh, suddenly reinvented romantic comedies, but it does feel different enough that there would be reason to have this film have attention. I feel like it has enough of an interesting spin by putting most of the ways that you would look at a film, you would almost always look at it from the female perspective. It's almost always the female lead who carries the film, and then the guy just has to come in and be charming. It's funny to hear them talk about when Jason's pitching the movie, or Justin, whatever, um, is pitching the movie, and they're one of the people working for the studio mentions the Bechdel test, and they're like, would this film pass the Bechdel test? And I'm like, I don't I don't know that the film is thinking about that. I think the film is thinking about how can I be different from other romantic comedies, which is actually probably more important than the Bechdel test, because there are enough films thinking about that. I think it still does, but I think by flipping it so that the person that we're following is this guy who's not obnoxious or overtly masculine, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not a pain in the ass. He's not here just to create comedy. Sometimes when you get a romantic comedy, you can also get a guy who's just hamming it up. and is there for punchlines and has to be paired up with a girl. Um, and then you get those romantic comedies too with male leads that are more they're there more as comic actors, but they're not necessarily known for being romantic leads. I'm thinking like Adam Sandler movies, right? Where he gets paired up with a girl by the end of the movie who's always more attractive than he is. So this doesn't feel like that either. This feels like a straight up romantic comedy where the guy is pretty normal, average, just trying to get through the day, and he might feel a little lonely in his current relationship with his influencer, and happens to meet this girl at a commercial that he has a bond with, and they explore maybe the possibility that there's something there, and you'll find out by the end of the movie where it ends. Um, I think that's fine. The score is, listen, independent films. I'm starting to learn more and more with scores that uh, they're also a breeding ground. Independent and low budget films, because I saw another film today that I would also qualify as low budget, but had people in it that would not put it in the same boat as this. That also had a score that felt like it's like a nothing score. Like it doesn't really do it. It's just music playing in the background. Although I prefer that because I've also seen a movie where, and I gave the same feedback for that movie too. I was like, I think the whole score for the movie is just somebody holding down like on a string instrument, like a violin or a cello, just like the same note. So it's just like, like in the background the whole time, which was also really obnoxious. And then I've also seen low budget independent films not use scores, which gives this sort of like weird silence thing, like an echo chamber. So I don't know how to solve scores for independent films that don't have the budget to be able to pay for, obviously, like songs. I wonder how many independent filmmakers know artists, like songwriters and stuff, who have written music and who would benefit from the exposure of having their music, like not necessarily score, just somebody writing a score, but blending in and out with your friend who is an indie artist, you know. Maybe we should look more into that, into those people who are trying to get their own followings up by putting out their own music, and see if some of that music can come in and out of films more. So it's not just a whole lot of music that just feels like there's a guy on a piano, because we can't pay for multiple instruments to record an actual score. So it's just a guy improvising something on the piano. Um, there's a funny part too where towards the end I was like, this is just Silent Night. He's just playing Silent Night on the piano. So I was like, Silent Night. So I guess it's traditional. It's in the public domain. So, I guess that's probably the most negative thing I could think about with the movie is the score. Uh, and I did actually enjoy this movie. I would give this a recommend. Plot wise, the acting isn't terrible. I don't want you to go into this thinking that you're going to watch the Julia Roberts romantic comedy classic, but at the same time, I think it's perfectly watchable. The funny thing is, it's called Meet Cute in Manhattan. This is better than the film Meet Cute. I enjoyed this film more than the film with Kaylee Cuoco and Pete Davidson. This is better than that. That movie was meh. That movie was very mid for me. I actually enjoyed this more. I thought the plot was better. It served its purpose more. Meet Cute was a bit of a mess, if I'm being honest. So That's a compliment. I mean, that movie had a budget and 2 stars in it. At least 2 stars from what I remember. I don't wanna go back and watch it and see who else was in that movie. But, yeah, Meet Cute Manhattan is, if it comes across your path on Tubi or, YouTube or I don't know where this movie's going. I would say it could be worth your time. It does not have audio description, um, and like I said, I think it might be a student film, so I don't expect student films inherently to remember to have audio description all the time. I mean, it's cool if you do, but my experience with accessibility is most people don't think about accessibility unless they need to use it themselves. So this is probably going to get watched by somebody who made Meet Cute in Manhattan, and they're going to be like, "What is audio description?" And they're going to Google it. They're going to figure out what that is and be like, "Oh, it's okay. I didn't expect you to know." I was in film school, and I think about the people I was in film school with, and I was like, I don't remember at any point we ever talked about audio description or accessibility in film in any of my classes. I don't think it was ever offered. I don't think anybody ever turned it on. I didn't hear any of the students ever talking about making sure it was there for the products. Like nothing. So I don't think that's why I'm here, is to try to talk about it, is to try to get the word out. So now you know what it is, and you'll have another film down the line, and inevitably, I hope so, because this film is written fairly well and directed fairly well. I hope everybody gets hired again. So, I'll need the score writer again, but sorry, he can keep working on films like this, I guess. Um, eh, I'm gonna give this a B minus. I'm gonna give this a B minus. I would go fresh with this on Rotten Tomatoes if I get on the tomato meter. So, Meet Cute in Manhattan. There you go. It was actually worth my time. I saw 3 movies today. This was the best one, and it was a film that had nobody in it that I'd ever heard of before. It was not directed by anybody that I knew, and it was the one that I liked the most. And I just watched it off of a screening link on Vimeo. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.